Hi, I'm Dr. Makin, founder of the Health and Wellness Institute of Utah. In this clip, I'm going to be talking about the difference between chiropractors and medical doctors.
Here's what you'll learn. Training behind medical doctor and chiropractors, which one you should choose, and I'm going to share a neat analogy. Okay, first of all I want to talk about how we get sick. As you can see here, proper function equals health. As long as everything's working well, you're healthy. Then, as the stressors, as you can see here on the left, become too much for the body to heal and adapt to, the body moves to a state of dysfunction. If that continues on, then the body will move to a state of disease or pathology. As we move from dysfunction towards disease, that's when we're going to notice our symptoms. Okay, so as you can see here, decreased healing and adapting in the body leads the body down a spiral from proper health and proper function to dysfunction to the pathology. So now let's talk about the training behind medical doctors and chiropractors. We're going to talk about each one's focus and the tools that they have to help them accomplish their focus. Okay, having said this, this is just a general explanation. This is not all-inclusive. Let's start with medical doctors. Medical doctors focus more on pathology, and their major tools are drugs and surgery. So pathology, that is your heart disease, diabetes, your cancer, and things like that, conditions that they can put a name to. Chiropractors are more concerned about dysfunction, things that aren't working quite right in the body. As we remember, it goes from proper function to dysfunction to pathology. So chiropractors are more worried about catching things at a dysfunction stage and then preventing them from moving to a pathology stage. Their major tools are the chiropractic adjustment, physical therapy, and nutrition. So which one should you choose? Well, they both have their place. It's estimated that over 80% of office visits are actually due to dysfunction, though, and not pathology. So that's good news. That means we can catch 80% of these problems before they get to pathology, before they get to a major condition. That also means that drugs and surgery may be too strong of a treatment for many of our conditions, when usually a lot more conservative type therapies will be successful. So here's a neat analogy. Let's say you have a fire. Who are you going to call? Of course, you're going to call a fireman. A fireman's going to come. They're going to use axes and fire hoses to, put down the flames and stop this fire, and they're going to do a phenomenal job, right? Right. Well, now that the fire's out, who are you going to call? Are you going to call the fireman to come back and say, hey, look, I got all these broken windows, I've got water damage, we've got all these problems, we need you to help clean this back up? No, the firemen are there to put out the fire. You're going to have to call a contractor or some type of repairman to come and fix these problems. So likewise, let's say you want to prevent the fire in the first place. Are you going to call a fireman and say, hey, why don't you come, every day let's go ahead and hose down my house, get it nice and wet so that a fire cannot start? Of course not. You're going to call a contractor or repairman to come, make sure that your house is very well maintained, that the electrical's working, the stove's working, all these things are working properly so that everything's in proper function and you can avoid the fire. So in this analogy, we have medical doctors are like firemen. They do a phenomenal job at putting out fires and helping save us from these major pathologies. And they use fire hoses and axes. They use drugs and surgery. They are going to cause some damage to our body, but they can save us in the meanwhile. Okay. Likewise, a chiropractor is similar to some type of repairman or contractor. They are going to work more at rebuilding and making sure the function of the house is sound and that everything is in a preventable stage, that you can prevent having those fires and everything's working properly. Okay, and they're going to use more conservative type means. That's the conclusion of this presentation. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that we shared something of value and that you learned something. If you have any further questions, or if we can help you specifically in our clinic, please give us a call at 801-709-9797, or you can check out our website with the information here. Thank you, and good luck, and God bless.